I was thinking of the ones who don't listen, right? And in every storm you have that, right? Including these gavones who I was noticing were like surfing or near the water or taking selfies near the water. What do you say to those folks, Secretary?
Well, I think it's important that everyone act responsibly, and it's important to evacuate the area, not only for their safety, but concerned about the people that will respond after a devastating storm to assist them.
But you notice that never happens? There are always these people who are just hanging out and they refuse to leave, and they put everyone else's life in danger trying to rescue them. That was the Department of Homeland Security Acting Secretary Elaine Duke telling me, you know, you've got to be responsible yourself and also find a way to protect those who want to protect you, the energy responders and emergency responders who have to deal with all of that. And they are dealing with a lot. And doesn't this next fellow know it? The former FEMA director there at around the time of Katrina, Michael Brown. Michael, good to have you back.
Good to see you, Neil.
I read with great interest your kind of, I don't know, of a warning for President Trump, but a reminder, don't repeat the ills of Katrina, or don't let this be your Katrina. What did you mean?
Well, it's kind of a twofold problem. If you look at the Center for Public Interest or the Center for Public Service, whatever, the Partnership for Public Service, they and the Washington Post have a tracker system of how many appointments, political appointments, have been made and not been made. And if you look at some of these departments, there are a whole lot of deputy secretaries and undersecretaries that haven't even been nominated yet. And my concern is this. When FEMA really gets into operation, and let's say that, just for an example, FEMA needs 5 Black Hawk helicopters, or they need the Department of Transportation to do something. When they call DOT, there's only Elaine Chao to answer the telephone. What about the rest of the people who actually carry things out? So my letter was, I wasn't trying to be critical or trying to be, you know, second guessing, but just saying, pay attention. When Brock Long, who I think is a great FEMA administrator, I know him personally, he's a good guy, when he asks for something, President Trump needs to make certain that he's told every member of his cabinet, you give him what he wants, when he asks for it, no questions asked. Because quite frankly, that was a problem that I had.
Michael, who is the boss on the ground? I mean, you were dealing with local authorities, a governor and a mayor, and different parties, different constituents, different rivalries, a PR problem for President Bush because it looked like he got there too late and was passed, which I didn't think was very fair to him. But in the middle is, who is the boss on the ground?
The boss on the ground, there are 2 bosses. There is the FEMA director who is acting on behalf of the president, and there's the governor of the state. Those are the bosses. But to your point, every disaster anywhere in the country involves 1 governor, 2 U.S. senators, at least 1 congressman, and the president. So you got 5 constituencies, plus the media, plus the people, the victims, and everybody else. So you have all these constituencies that you have to make certain understand what's going on, that they stay in their lanes, they do what they're supposed to do, because once that gets confused or those lines get cut, I can tell you for sure that things fall apart. Yeah,
you know, I remember with President Bush, it was damned if he did, damned if he didn't, damned if he went to New Orleans too quickly, crucified if it looked like he was distant and took his time. We already know that President Trump has indicated that he wants to visit Texas next week. How would you advise him on that?
Well, here's what we did. The White House advance team was in fact, we always had a member of the White House advance team right next to me, following everything that I did, because we were constantly talking about when is the right time that the president can come down and actually see what's going on. Because as you know, when the president comes down, there's this giant bubble. And so you've got to make certain that that bubble doesn't interfere with operations. So you try to find, like, if President Trump sticks true to his character that I've seen, he'll want to be down there tomorrow if he could. Well, the key is, where do you put him? Where do you let him go so that he can be seen doing what, you know, see what's going on? Or you have to have the ability to stand up to the White House advance team and say, not yet. You've got to wait another 48 hours. You know, we can do other things. We can do conference calls. We can do video things. But There's a time and a place, and the people on the ground, the FEMA director and the governor, know best when that happens.
You know, I think that all the wagons circled around you. You went from hero to goat,
Yes.
and you did nothing wrong, and I covered it very, very closely. But it seemed like they needed someone to blame for the miscommunications and the problems, and yet I can distinctly remember fighting governor, fighting mayor, then rival governors in other states in Mississippi,
Right.
Haley Barbour at the time. It was a
Yes.
vicious back and forth, and you were, I guess, monkey in the middle. So
Right.
for the new FEMA,
You know, that's the first. Hang on, that's the first time I've been called the monkey in the middle. I got to write that down.
I did not mean to insult you, but I
think it's great.
I'm wondering how the new FEMA director, administrator in this capacity avoids that.
He avoids that because he has to have a really good relationship with the president, and I think that he does for a couple of reasons. One, this president has shown that he wants to know who his FEMA director is, and despite the fact that there are a whole lot of vacancies at the Department of Homeland Security, there's a FEMA director. So that says to me that the president understands the importance of that. The second reason I think that the president understands it is that the president's Homeland Security advisor, Tom Bossert, that you and others have had on the air earlier,
Right.
actually worked for me. He understands. He was in Katrina. So I think there's enough historical knowledge there that they know what's going on. And I can tell you that both Brock, the FEMA director, and Tom Bossert, the Homeland Security advisor, have the wherewithal to stand up, look the president in the eye, and say, this is what we have to do.
And I want to give you your due. Unlike the way it's been painted, you were warning people quite some time before this about what they were dealing with and what they were looking at. And that's kind of been papered over in history here.
Well, and thanks to you, not so much.
Well, I don't know about that, but it was a little unfair. But again, I want to thank you very much, Michael. Words to remember here, no matter where you are in the food chain of authoritative agencies overseeing this. It is easy to point fingers. It is much tougher just to point to getting things done.